Long ago, in a peaceful village surrounded by thick forests and tall palm trees, there lived a young woman named Ebele. Ebele was loved by everyone. But one stormy night, something happened that nobody in the village could explain. The wind howled, the rain fell heavily, and inside Ebele's small hut, she cried out in labor. Nobody knew that before sunrise. The village would witness something it had never seen before. The village midwife rushed into Ebele's home. "Be strong, my daughter," Ebele screamed as thunder shook the walls. Then suddenly, everything became silent. The wind stopped. The rain stopped. Even the animals outside became quiet. And then a baby's cry filled the room. Ebele had given birth, but beside the newborn baby, something else was lying on the floor. It was a drum, not an ordinary drum. It was beautifully carved from dark wood. Strange symbols covered its surface. Nobody knew where it had come from. The midwife stepped backwards. "What is that?" Ebele stared at the drum in confusion. Then, the drum moved. News spread through the village before sunrise. "Ebele has given birth to a drum." People gathered outside her home. Some prayed, some ran away. Others whispered that an evil spirit had entered the village. Chief Okoro arrived. He looked at the strange drum. Nobody spoke. Then the drum sounded again. Within minutes, the village was almost empty. Families packed their belongings. Children cried. Women ran into the forest. Everyone believed Ebele's strange drum was a curse, but Ebele refused to leave. She looked at her newborn son. Then she looked at the drum. And somehow, she felt no fear. Years passed. Ebele named her son Chidi. She raised him alone. The villagers stayed away from them. But something strange happened. Whenever Chidi cried, the drum would play. Whenever Chidi laughed, the drum would play. And whenever danger came near their home, the drum would warn Ebele. One afternoon, Chidi wandered too far into the forest. He heard a strange sound, a drum beat. Boom, boom, boom. But the drum was not with him. He followed the sound deeper into the forest, and what he discovered there would change everything. Suddenly, Chidi stopped. A huge snake was lying across the path. Before Chidi could move, boom! The drumbeat thundered through the forest. The snake lifted its head, then quickly disappeared into the bushes. Chidi ran home. Years passed. Chidi became a strong young man. Ebele grew older, and the mysterious drum remained beside them. But something terrible was coming, something the villagers could not see. The forest had begun to change. The river was drying, animals were disappearing, and strange sounds were being heard at night. For the first time he understood. The drum wasn't trying to harm them. It was protecting him. Danger comes. Narration: one morning, smoke appeared beyond the forest. A huge group of armed strangers had entered the region. They wanted the village's land. The villagers were terrified. Chief Okoro gathered everyone. "We cannot fight them," he said. "They are too many." But nobody noticed the old drum sitting quietly inside Ebele's home. Scene 12. The drum speaks. Narration. That night, Ebele heard a voice, not from outside, not from Chidi, from the drum. It said, "Ebele." She froze. The drum had spoken again. "Tomorrow, take me to the center of the village." Ebele whispered, "Why?" The drum replied, "Because the time has come." Scene 13. The village gathers. Narration. The next morning, Ebele carried the drum into the village. Everyone stared. Some people wanted her to leave, but Chief Okoro raised his hand. "Let her speak." Ebele placed the drum in the center of the village. Then Chidi struck it once. Boom! The ground trembled. The power awakens. Narration. The sky suddenly became dark. A powerful wind swept through the village. The ancient symbols on the drum began to glow. Then the villagers heard something impossible. Hundreds of drums began beating from deep inside the forest. The strangers stopped in fear. They didn't know what was coming. The forest moves. Narration. Trees began shaking. Branches moved like waves. Birds filled the sky. And from every direction came the sound of drums. The strangers dropped their weapons. They ran. They never returned. The village had been saved. The villagers realized the truth. Narration for the first time in many years, the villagers looked at Ebele differently. The woman they had feared had saved them. The strange drum they had called a curse had protected them. Chief Okoro walked toward Ebele, and slowly, he bowed. Apology narration. Ebele, he said, we were wrong. Ebele looked at the old man. You were afraid of what you did not understand. Chief Okoro nodded. And today, you saved us. The secret narration. Then the drum spoke one final time. I was not born to destroy this village. I was born to protect it. The villagers stood speechless. The drum had been waiting for generations, waiting for the moment when its power would be needed. A new beginning narration. From that day forward, Ebele and Chidi were welcomed back into the village. Nobody called them strange anymore. Nobody feared them. And every year during the village festival, Chidi would play the ancient drum. Its sound reminded everyone of one important lesson. Sometimes, the thing we fear most may be the very thing that saves us. Final lesson narration. And that is the story of Ebele, the woman who gave birth to a child in a mysterious drum on the same night. A woman rejected because people were afraid of what they could not understand. But years later, the very thing they feared became their salvation. So remember, never judge something simply because it is different, and never reject a person because you don't understand their story. Because sometimes, a blessing can arrive disguised as a mystery. End screen. What would you have done if you were one of the villagers? Comment your thoughts below. Subscribe for more African folktales. Important for your pictures. For every scene, keep these details exactly the same.